Remember, if you ever need a helping hand, it's at the end of your arm. If you get older, remember you have another hand. The first is to help yourself, and the second one is to help others. Audrey Hepburn. To put it briefly, Malaysia has been stricken by an immeasurable number of natural disasters ever since early of 2021. Tragic phenomena such as severe flood in Pahang, Terengganu and Kelantan had claimed the lives of more than thousands of people who have lost their homes, proprietorship and family members. Although all of us are well known that they will be able to redeem what they have lost, but it probably will take a long time. I myself have joined Mercy Malaysia, and with a total of 300 volunteers from Mercy State chapters in Terengganu, Johor, Sabah and Sarawak plan to run a donation drive to support relief operation. Today, I'd like to talk to you about first explaining the problem faced by the flood victims, second, how to help these flood victims, and finally, the benefit you gain by being part of this donation drive. I am done with my preview. Let us begin with my first point. In January 2021, there were about 20,000 flood victims in Kelantan, Terengganu and Pahang suffering from many issues and waiting for the help from any NGOs to lend them any donations. The problem is that majority of the flood victims suffered from few physical health problems such as skin and other infectious diseases due to the rapid exposure of sludge and mud. In 2017, we experienced almost as many flooding events as we did throughout the previous 10 years, says board-certified dermatologist Chang Chung Chor, Assistant Professor of Dermatology and Dermatopathology at Putra Specialist Medical Center. The health implications for people exposed to flood waters are staggering and include a wide variety of dermatologic issues such as wound infections, contact dermatitis, and even electrical injuries from down power supplies. Moreover, based on the Health Flood Management Guidelines 2008, the floods that occurred had caused garbage and sewage reservoirs to come out along with the overflow of water. Garbage and waste are scattered everywhere, resulting in various infection diseases such as malaria, food poisoning, foot and mouth disease, HEND, and lastly chickenpox. Besides that, victims are suffered from financial problems. 87% of the flood victims who suffered from financial problem as their source of incomes are affected. In a survey conducted by Research Study on the problem of flood disaster victims of 2021, Mr. Roslan said that he had lost his job and destroyed his business that once was a source of his living wage for his family. He suffered from the destruction of his home and business at a lost cost of almost 200,000 ringgit Malaysia. Meanwhile, most of the residents that lives at the rural area have difficulty on finding employment other than tapping rubber. The income of the rubber tappers was affected and some of them had permanently lost their job after the flood. This has caused them to have a lack of necessities such as food storage, comfortable shelters, and so on. Well, the question may arise, how can I make sure my donation goes to the victims in need? Let me tell you, this is how you go about making sure to help the flood victim. Mercy Malaysia volunteers to conduct flood recovery activities in the amount of 100,000 ringgit Malaysia. We plan a project to provide shelters and better facilities for the community in need of 70,000 ringgit Malaysia more. Mercy Malaysia's technical team would be carrying out a detailed damage assessment of 61 houses that are urgently needed to be repaired. In addition to that, our technical team also will be rebuilding 20 more houses that were fully collapsed due to the strong occurrence that happened. Besides repairing home facilities, we are also supplying nutritious food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. For instance, oat mix, ready-to-eat milk, rice pack, and food cans to be distributed to more far-reaching community in the affected areas. Next, we also plan a hygiene care provision project for those residents affected by the floods. Mercy Malaysia has delivered 500 additional hygiene kits to flood victims. We supplied them free medical face masks and COVID-19 tool kits such as hand sanitizer, clinical kits, and cleaning bleach to help them reduce from spreading more virus among each other. Also, let's not forget about the victims' menstrual hygiene management during emergencies. Due to the inaccessibility of menstruation product during the emergency state, the Malaysia NGO My Corps alumni that created the Bunga Pets initiative in July 2019 had volunteered to lend a helping hand by sponsoring and delivering sanitary pads to each household. You can see that it isn't difficult to be a charity donor. Now, let's look at what may happen if you choose to donate and what may happen if you choose not to. Imagine how happy the flood victims are, knowing that there are still people care about their well-being. You, as a donator who joined this, will also get a huge benefit. Firstly, the victims can have a newly built or repaired shelter to protect them from danger out there. They can also continue living their life as a normal human should be, without having to withdraw any money. According to the Flood Recovery Program report, every money that were received in the fundraising project will go towards the victim so that they will be built a new home and provided daily necessities. Mercy Malaysia 2021 stated that they will constantly monitor the movement of flood victims throughout this COVID-19 pandemic season. In addition to that, they will also take a good care of each victim's health condition from time to time, especially if they are in a dire state. The problems will occur when there is no one from a big organization promoting the audience on how to help people in need. Most NGOs that I've known will only focusing on the victims with their supplies, but when unwanted occurrences have affected most residents, they are lacking of supplies and manpower. In result, this will eventually derange the fundraising project, whether it is being done by the organization or a mere citizen. After all, I could say that donating to those who are in needs are not as hard as we think it is, if we are doing it with the right intention. All said and done for the 3 points, so allow me to recap it back, which are by explaining the problems faced by the flood victims, the solution to help the flood victims, and lastly, the benefits you gain by being part of this donation drive. Most people know about trauma, which translates to what you give out, you get back in the same form. That being said, are you giving your attention to what you are projecting in terms of actions? It is a universal law that you reap what you sow. We would appreciate your prompt action to this because your immediate response will be meaningful to make this fundraising project brighter and successful in order to support those victims who are below strengths. We appreciate your genuine contributions. Remember to always give the victim a voice. Fundraising is more than a job. In the right hands, it is a powerful force for change, and while that change is underway, it should be an inspirational beacon of hope. With this, I would like to thank the audience for your time and consideration.